Support the channel on patreon.com/manlightfoot.
Welcome to another episode of Simple Thoughts. Today's episode, I'm gonna make this a bit more simpler. Pun intended. It's more or less gonna be revolving around a particular subject matter that I think many of us in the animation scene can relate to or pretty much have of our own, and that being my favorite animated scenes. Now, I kind of want to preface that this isn't just a matter of me ranking my favorite animated scenes or anything like that. It's more just scenes that happen in like shows or movies that I really enjoy myself. Something that I'm just constantly thinking of, that's just always in my mind, that just really showcases why I love animation. You know, it's nothing where it's like, this is the best scene, this is this or that. It's just more my personal feelings on particular scenes that I have. Now, this list that I'm coming up with is more just, these are scenes I really enjoy a lot because I constantly think about them. And even then, I should preface that this isn't all the scenes. These won't be all the scenes that I consider my favorite. It's just more, just kind of a small streamlined list of a few scenes I'm thinking about right now, or have been thinking about in a sense. So that's just something to kind of keep in mind when looking on this. One of my favorite scenes is definitely from Space Dandy, and it's the Stardust Pipeline scene that we get in one of the episodes. It's a scene I constantly come back to because it's just so weird, honestly. I can't pretend like it's not a weird scene. I mean, you have stuff where a guy in his underwear is like hoverboarding in space with some cat alien on board the board as well, and he's just swaying while a planet is destroyed and it's just a bunch of debris and he's just surfing around. It's just such a odd scene, but it's something that I think a lot about because of just how amazing it is, and plus it has such great music going with it as well. That's another big thing that I think really works for this scene, is that the music, the animation, everything is just very well constructed, and yet it's one of those scenes that you kind of feel like it feels like it should have deeper meaning, but it doesn't. Like, especially with the episode, because it was about like underwear and briefs and such, or no, wearing underwear and not wearing underwear. It's a pretty weird episode, and it has such, in the whole pipeline or the whole surfboarding and space part is just odd in and of itself, and yet it has no connection to anything. But at the same time, it's like, it's really good of a scene. I really constantly think about this because of how well it's done, and it just makes you, it kind of inspires you a little, you know. You think a little bit, thinking more about, I wonder how I can make something like that. Like, I want to put something as weird and out of nowhere like that in something I create. It's definitely just something that I've always thought about a lot, even if it feels the most random. Honestly, it might feel very random to a lot of people, but to me, it's just something that's just always on my mind, especially when I hear the song. It's a really good song. So, I don't know, that's just always something I've always was fascinated about, especially since it's a Shinichiro Watanabe production, and he's known for having those type of like scenes that really lets the music and animation drive the whole thing. And that's just kind of the same case with Space Dandy. It's just a really nice scene that I always really enjoy.
Check this out. Cool, right?
The Shredder versus the Rise Ninja Turtle scene is really interesting to me. It's because it's basically, because the thing about Rise of the Ninja Turtles is, it honestly is like the best looking the Ninja Turtles have ever looked, honestly. Like, it's the best they've been animated. Like, there's no denying that. Like, every iteration, it looks really good. They look pretty good, and they work for themselves. But Rise is the one where it's like, we gotta go hard. We gotta do some real different shit, you know? And the fight scene between Shredder and the Turtles in the final episode is where it's like they're driving it fully home, you know, like everything's moving almost like anime stuff. You see all these weird flashes and smudges and all this and that, creating such this well-crafted, meticulous action that we never get in Ninja Turtles. That's the biggest thing about it. It's insane, and you think, wow, I never thought I could see the Ninja Turtles do this type of stuff. Especially, say if you're like an 80s fan. I'm not an 80s fan, but like if you were an 80s fan, you watch this now, it's like, wow, they did some stuff that I did not think was possible for the Ninja Turtles, like plain and simple. And I think that's something that's kind of interesting to me, is that it's just this well-made like fight scene, and everybody's doing everything, you know. One major move I keep thinking of is Leo when he's like throwing his sword around and teleporting and everything. He like smacks his sword into the back of Shredder's head, and he catches the sword and then slices Shredder's face. Like it's insane how meticulously crafted all the movements are. Like everyone's doing all these different things, and there's all these nice little details, like when Raph's teleporting around the Shredder, like you see these like individual copies of himself and you see them battle damaged or something like that when you pause. It's like how they flip the camera when April smacks the hell out of Shredder. Everything is just moving perfectly well in that whole entire sequence, and it's just something I always think about on my mind, and it's just something that's just, I really think I gotta get something made like that. Like, whatever project I'm working on, I want the team that makes that type of stuff. It's honestly what makes me love Flying Bark as an animation studio. Like, they made the Monkey Kid series, and they also made Rise of the Ninja Turtles, and you see more of their other work. And this is just no exception here. This is just amazing work, and you're just thinking, we gotta see more of them. We gotta get more stuff with them, because they do some good stuff that's just grade A quality, I tell you now. Spike falling out of a window, that was something I saw as a kid, and it always struck me. It's something that always stayed in my mind no matter what. It's always a scene that I'm very much willing to return to, because it's so interesting how they do everything. You know, he's chucked out of the window by Vicious, and he's just basically flashing back. He's pretty much having that near-death experience of just thinking about all his life and everything. And that was, I kind of want to say that's probably like the first scene or flashback sequence I've ever seen, honestly. I mean, it's not like you guys can fact check me.
Gotcha, bitch!
But for real, it's just a case that I always found this such an interesting scene because everything's so calm with the music and everything, you know. It's the song Greenbird, if I'm correct. And it's like you have this choir as he's just falling to his death in slow motion. Everything is just all, like, everything feels so well crafted with how it's animated, with how the scene is playing out. You see all these crooked like shards and everything, and it's kind of, and as a sort of interpretation I always felt with it was, it's kind of the case of him not following the straight path. You know, he was into some deep shit and it messed up his life, obviously. That's something I've always felt was a bit interesting with this with that scene, and I always return to it because it's just honestly one of my all-time favorite scenes from Cowboy Bebop in general. Like, Cowboy Bebop is such an amazing series in general, and so it's one of those things where I'm just like so enamored by it. I always think about it. I always have to play the song, and it's whenever that song's playing, it's like I gotta be thinking about that scene because it's interesting. Honestly, it solidifies Cowboy Bebop for me. That's one of the things that scene always does for me.
Arigato!
I tell you now, Ace dying was so well done. Like, I've seen death scenes in plenty of stuff. we grew up with a lot of Disney stuff. We've seen shit like Clayton or Mufasa and all that. But Ace dying, it's like it really showcased like strong emotions that like you get strong emotions in death scenes, of course. Like we seen like Kerchak and Tarzan die, or like I said, Mufasa and such. But Ace dying, like everything just felt. Now you could argue it's a bit limited because it's like they do a lot of those slow-mo, and it kind of feels like they're cardboard cutouts of the characters and not like actual fully animated moving characters. That's kind of how they cheated, but I think that kind of works to its advantage. That's what's interesting about it, is that they do look like PNGs just being just sliding, you know. But here I think it works because it showcases how the world is pretty much crashing for Luffy. You know, his brother is dying and he's just holding him because he kind of somehow fucked up. It's like his own brother he went there to save his brother, and now his brother's dead right in his arms. And it's just all the emotionality. All the music is playing and swelling properly. Everyone, you know, you see Whitebeard collect the bead from Ace's necklace and such, and crying. Like all the emotions just run perfectly. That's just something I always found was something that I just can't. It's one of those things where it's like I don't know if anything else for me ever could like reach those highs of sadness. You know, I didn't cry at it, but it definitely was a case of like it's just so emotionally strong. You know. You probably call me a masochist or something, because I return to that scene sometimes. Sometimes I will like put that particular scene on and rewatch it just to see, just because to re-experience it, because it was such a strong scene. I read it in the manga and it was good there, but then I see the anime and it's like, damn, that was like shit. He died. Like Ace died, and it was really gut-wrenching. And I'm not a person who believes in like setting standards for stuff, but it is a case of, I always think about how these things can more or less feel like, I don't know if something's gonna live up to that. You know what I mean? I never feel like something's gonna live up to something as emotionally deep as that. That's always just something that's like on my mind. Not to say everyone has to be Ace's death. By no means do I want to say that. I just want to preface that. There are scenes where I have cried. Like they have hit me. Like they made like tears come out of my eyes. Even stuff that's just made me happy even. But Ace's death was one of those things where it's like, I think about it on a constant basis because of the fact of how everything is just working. How the emotions run so perfectly well, and so sad of a scene. That's just something that always will stick with me. Like, and I think it sticks with many of us who, you know, love One Piece. Like, it just, because it's just that well done of a scene, honestly.
Prepare to bow to your princess!
Blossom versus Princess. That was honestly one of the scenes that made Blossom like my favorite character on Powerpuff Girls. You can call me bland all you want. You can say I'm as milquetoast as ever. You can say I'm about as boring as a plain oatmeal. No strawberry, no banana, nothing like that. You can say that all you want, but to me, this scene indicated how much of a badass Blossom really is. Like, people may be trying to sleep on her, calling her the boring one or something, but it's like, she will put a bitch down. Like, let us not forget how she saw her sisters getting whooped by Princess, and she's just looking and analyzing everything. And then the second princess like sets her sights on her and starts trying to fight her. Blossom's dodging everything. She's just dodging. And then now she turns it on her and just like boom, 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 boom. Just pounding the shit out of Princess.
Pause. What the fuck?
It's just one of those things where it's like, this solidified Blossom to me as the leader of the Powerpuff Girls. Like, you see it, it's like, okay, yeah, she's sort of leader, but they struggle here and there. But it's like, that's the moment where you just think, yeah, that's why she's the leader. She proved why she's the leader. Like, let's face it, sometimes, a lot of time in these team shows and such, they have like a leader who's sort of boring. They don't really showcase too much, it's like they give commands and all this and that. But you see in this sequence with Blossom that this one is like, I understand why, because you're looking at the scene and you're thinking, and you're seeing how she's analyzing Princess and her attack formations and everything, and then easily sending all that back to Princess and just proving why. And she straight up says, like, this is why you will never be a Powerpuff Girl. It's like, badass right there. Like, that's the type of shit that I fucking love, honestly. That's just what really solidified Blossom as a character for me. It's just because she's just so amazing in that sequence, and I feel like too many people pass her off because of that, and they just forget. It's like, yeah, she can put a bitch down. She will put a bitch down, okay? Like, let us not forget how badass Blossom truly is. Just saying. That's all I'm saying. Let's just recognize, people. Let's just recognize.
Well, I think you're pretty great.
Steven hugging Pearl, like, that was such a powerful moment, because it's like he's just comforting her. She's sad, she's broken, because she's thinking, wow, I really thought, Rose trusted me, and here she is having secrets that I wasn't aware of. She finds out about lying and such, and she's just saddened by it, and I'm just like, it's like, wow. You see the rest of the series, you find out the big reveal about Rose and Pink Diamond, and that was such a big moment that Pink Diamond shared with Pearl. That moment actually hits even harder, because it's like, she just gave away the farm, she just gave away the entire fucking deal. I don't know why I used the farm analogy, that was wrong.
Way to go, a-hole!
She gave away such a big secret, and she only trusted Pearl with that secret. She didn't tell any of the other crystal gems about this stuff, not even Bismuth, and it really hits you because of the fact that it's like, wow, like, we went to war together, we started this rebellion together, and here you go, pretty much, like, just having a secret life without me. Like, you don't tell me anything, and come to find out you got a lion. Like, holy shit. It really solidified the emotionality of Steven Universe for me. There were definitely moments beforehand that were strong, but this one was the one that really told me this series is different. This series is different than what people think it is. Like, some people might think it's just so silly fun, here's Steven and all this, like, cookie cat. But it's like, no, there's more to this series. This series is really trying to tell us we need to feel. Like, and I think that's what's so amazing about this. It is a case where we saw something that really tried to tell us, you want to be here for this. You don't want to miss it. And that was just something that was just so beautiful about that series, honestly. Now, you might call me Wonder Bread or something like this, like I'm bland as hell, but I'm sorry, man. Like, no, you can't deny the power of the opening of Lion King. Like, it's such a great sequence that just starts. It's like, it's kind of almost the perfect means to start a movie, honestly. Like, you just start off right away with this impressive sun, like, rising, and this high note just opening, just breathing life into the whole movie. And then everybody's coming together, and you see all these animals, these majestic looking animals just rushing through, and it's all well crafted and well animated and moving so beautifully, and these sweeping shots, all these different shots. It's just amazing, because that's the thing, is that Lion King is one of my all-time favorite animated films, and with the opening scene is just so beautiful with how it does everything, because it just starts you off with everything. Like, just starts you off with this amazing song, as well as all this amazing animation. And that's just something I feel like is kind of a lost art in a lot of movies, that they don't start you off with something great. Not to say every movie needs to do that. I'm not a jackass like that. But it's more, I think a lot of movies could learn some tricks here and there to like really solidify that whole angle of trying to capture your audience on the first beat of the movie, you know? Like, on the first note, we're already like, whoa, holy crap. It sets everything. It sets up a bit of our tone. It sets up how it's going to be shot and everything. It sets up the exact scope. That's what's really amazing, because a lot of people understand that, like, Lion King is a big movie. And so with Lion King, do opening like this with this big opening song and big opening sequence, it really got everybody to say, I'm on board. I'm on board. I want to see what y'all doing with this. I want to see where y'all go with this. And I think it's just something I think is just really amazing to me, honestly. This one is probably a massive spoiler for the movie Turning Red, and I want to just preface this. If you have not watched this movie, stop watching this video, go watch that movie, and then come back, please. Because this is such a good sequence that I don't think it'd be right for me to just give away to you. I didn't even in my review, I didn't show any scenes from this sequence. And I think it's better if you watch the movie first and then come back and see the sequence for yourself. I just want to tell you that. But for those who have seen it, I think y'all already know kind of what movie or what scene I'm about to show, and I think y'all would probably understand. Look, this scene, it may be from a fairly recent movie, but I'm sorry, man. This scene, this whole sequence is just so insane. It's completely bonkers, and I just couldn't get enough of it. It's so funny to me, because everything else in the movie, you would not think this is where we're going. You would not think, oh yes, in Turning Red, the movie about a girl pretty much turning into a panda, which is an allegory for her going through puberty, somehow results in a giant red panda destroying the freaking stadium in Canada. Like, I don't care, man. I don't care. It's such a funny sequence because you're just thinking about everything. You're thinking about how Ming is just raging through, busting down buildings and destroying the stadium, all to get to May. And May's just like, what the hell? Like, and she goes to her dad and she's like, Dad, what is that? Like, you said she gets mad and all that, but you didn't say she gets big. And Dad's just like, I mean, I said she gets big. It's like, you ain't specified, motherfucker. Like, that's just what's so funny to me. And it just all plays so perfectly well. And it's one of those things, it's like, I haven't had a moment like that just laughing at such a bonkers Pixar sequence since, like, Finding Dory, honestly. Like, you know, the scene where all the fish are flying, like, after the big truck chase, and all the fish are just flying out into the ocean and such. Like, getting to hear, like, in I can't with this movie. With Turning Red, it's like, it's such a beautiful movie, but you do gotta go in with, like, not having any knowledge of what is about to happen. Because if you know that the giant red panda part happens, it's like, it's gonna take away a bit of the fun. Like, you gotta go in, like, not thinking about nothing. Like, you gotta not know what is going to happen. Because it's just so funny. Like, one of the funniest pieces of movement from May was when she sees her mom, like, staring at her into the stadium, and she just starts booking it the other way. She just started booking it because she's like, holy shit, I'm about to die. I am going to die. My mom is going to murder me. She's going to squish me like a grape. Like, it's hilarious. I totally understand those who, you know, love the scene where Ming is now like in her teenage self with the red hair in this where they're in the spirit world and such. Like, don't get me wrong, that's a beautiful scene. That's a beautiful scene too. Like, it's got the emotion, it's got all like great animation, and it does great storytelling with just simply walking, and I think it's a beautiful scene. But it damn sure does not compare to the fucking giant kaiju monster battle that happens. Especially since in that sequence is like they literally beat the monster with a boy band. like the boy band comes in to sing the song to like calm down the monster to help fight it off, and I'm like, son, it's like, to me this sequence is everything you could want. Like, I don't care what anyone says. It's like, this is what you could want. You could not want anything else or anything more. It ain't getting better than that. It damn sure ain't getting better than that. That's just how I feel. Like I said, it may be a new movie, but to me, I'm gonna be thinking about that scene a lot, because I have been thinking about it constantly. It's just so good. And like I said, you gotta go into it without knowing, because if you do go in knowing, it's just not about to hit the same. I just want to tell you that now. Go watch Turning Red again. It's so good. It's just so funny. Like, you gotta experience that sequence. It's too good. Now, this is a scene I grew up with kind of religiously. Like, I honestly loved the hell out of the Goofy movie. It was because it's such a great movie, and I'm glad it's gotten its flowers. We kind of can't say it's underrated anymore. We could say it's basically rated. Like, everyone who watches it knows it's like, yeah, it's a good movie. It's a good Goofy movie. You think about Eye to Eye, it's like a nice wrapping of everything. Like, you went on this crazy adventure and now you get this nice pop song and everything's just hitting, like all the musical notes. Like, you got Tevin Campbell just singing his heart out to the point it's like, and then animation wise, it's like, God, this looks really good. Like, if you go to a concert, they use a lot of lighting effects. This movie utilizes lighting effects for a concert, like, in ways you didn't think you could see. Like, you see the man, like, going pink and all this and that, utilizing all the different lights and everything, all the different movements. It's smooth movements, by the way. And it's like, it all is just this pop singer doing his set. But it's so well done. And it all culminated from, Max and Goofy having a strained relationship. And now they gotta, work it out. And I think that's what's so amazing to me for this sequence. It's just that it's like, yeah, they finally saw eye to eye together. Like, it's literally what the song is saying. It's like, we gotta see eye to eye. And they're finally seeing eye to eye. Granted, the song shows it's a love song type of deal, but still, you can interpret it in different ways. You know what I mean? Like, it's such a great song anyway. And that's just something I always really like. It's always a sequence that no matter what, when you start playing this song, like, everybody knows, we got to start singing, don't care, gotta stop, gotta start singing. Like, you just do it, you just start singing. I just honestly love that sequence so much. It's just too well made. Everything's hitting perfectly. And at no point can you think, oh yeah, I need to change something. Probably could have been changed here. No, you're wrong. If you try to say, oh yeah, they could have changed this and that, you're a fucking idiot, okay? That scene is just perfect. It's perfection in animated form. And you can't, like, it's just something that's always on my mind. And I always gotta have that song on repeat or something. Because it's just so well, it's just a beautiful scene. And it all perfectly wraps into what Goofy movie is about and everything. You may think it isn't, but it is. Like, the more you think about the song and what Goofy and Max are doing during the whole, like, song sequence, it's amazing. Like, the people who bashed it when the movie originally came out, they don't know shit, okay? They don't know art. That was art incarnate, okay? You needed that type of stuff. You need that. But thankfully, we got it. It's amazing, and it's forever solidified as like one of Disney's greatest animated scenes of all time. At least that's what I think. But that just about wraps up what I think are some of my favorite animated scenes. It's not all of them. I'm pretty sure I could probably name a few more, maybe, if I think hard enough on it. But you know what? I'm curious as to what y'all think. Like, what are some of y'all's favorite animated scenes in any show or movie? Or even a music video, you know? Like, I want to hear it. Let me know what you have as your favorite animated scenes. Put them in the comments and just let me know. Maybe I'll respond. Maybe we'll have a discussion. Because I really find this fascinating, and I don't think too many people talk about their own personal favorites. You know, we all talk about what we think is, you know, the best, but I'm like, what's your personal favorite? Something that's just like, I don't care what anyone else says, this is just my favorite, I love it this much, I can pick it apart or tell you all this and that about how it works and everything. Like, let me know in the comments, and always remember, it's just a thought.